Well, here we are, folks. It is another night. I timed this perfectly right as the Dallas Football Cowboys start their second half. I'm going to go back and watch it anyway, but I'm liking this baseball thing in October. Earlier today, Josh was educating me. Give us a shout out where you are listening and or watching from. We want to know. It's ALCS instant reaction show. Where you at? What you think? Certainly want to interact with you all out there, especially with anybody like to drop some smack talk, some feedback, initial reactions, quick game recap, and a what's next up on this. But a quick tease here, this outstanding video production tonight, a service of the Texas Porch Podcast. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Coming soon, the wild day that Josh and I had today as part of Heath and Havard Moving Company, or is it Havard and Heath Moving Company? Today, it involved a misplaced bed frame, a reality show participant, a county dump, and a 1987 style debit card policy. Gosh almighty, what a day it has been. First off, A, is that accurate? And two, how you doing? How you feeling? I'm going to get some light here.
That is all accurate. I mean, yeah, interesting day. Like it wasn't bad, but it was a lot longer than it probably should have been. And there was, it'll be a good podcast to go back on later, just to break down a few things that went on.
But we've got enough to interact on this one here as the Victory Root Beer tasting oh so sweet in this one as the Rangers defeat the Houston Astros 5-4. So I give you the forum, as you're so kind to donate your time here this evening. I'll give you my initial thoughts and reactions, but you speak for Astros Nation. You're in charge here, the defending champion fan base. How are you feeling with a little bit longer than extended wait? Maybe not as visceral. You're not too emotional of a guy anyway, but it was fish stick and macaroni night at the Heath House, and good things have to wait. So how you feeling, Josh?
Not great. A little bit worse than after game one, because coming up from 2-0 is a little bit tougher. I think I saw the last time the Astros were down 2-0 was in 2020 against the Rays, which they went down 3-0 before forcing game 7. But I don't know. Awful day from Framber Valdez. Just all started and ended there. Like, if he was just bad instead of really, really bad, then it's a different story. And the Astros had a few chances they didn't take advantage of. And once again, the Rangers did enough to get a win. So credit to them. As Astros fans, it's annoying, but it is what it is.
Yeah, like we quoted earlier today, I taught you SOCKS and Espanol. It is certainly what it is. Obviously, I'm giddy. I'm thrilled. It was a almost like a come from ahead win for the Rangers, as that game had a lot of feelings that brought up bad memories from late in the regular season where the Rangers pooped away the division to your Astros. But man, I said it again. I don't know what to do with my hands here in this winning stuff. I just thought that the bullpen was going to blow it. Leclerc made me really nervous. Chapman gave up the big bomb. And the Astro Stars haven't shown up. And even though it's a small difference, I mean, 3 runs have decided these 2 games. And if you don't get the starting pitching that the Rangers did from Montgomery and Evaldi today, and the bullpen doesn't pitch lights out, it's 2-0 Astros. It easily could be 2-0 Astros. And all kidding aside, as much as I like to punt Astros fans in the crotch, but looking at this thing neutrally, it is far, far, far from over in this one. I don't know if that comes across condescending. It's not. intended to be that way. But yeah, this one's far from over. But initial reactions there, but some factoids coming out of this one. The Rangers have only trailed after one inning this postseason. So we're of the opinion that, like we talked about that early offense, we were talking about going into the rest of that series against the Twins. Hey, it's good to score early runs. Well, it's also good when you're leading a lot in baseball games. And that's what has happened with the Rangers. And specifically, hard word to say sometimes when you think about it. But it's good when you're ahead after innings. The Rangers have now won 7 straight postseason games. The 2014 Royals won 8 straight, and the Rangers won behind those Royals, last year's Astros, the COVID Braves, and a couple other teams. But man, don't want to get ahead of ourselves too much going to the end here, but is it, with only those 3 runs deciding the 2 games, does that matter really in Astros Kingdom, or is that just, say, Ricky Bobby, second place, first loser? What's the general consensus there? Because as close as yesterday's game was, only 2 runs. It felt like, piece of cake compared to that high wire act performed by the Rangers today.
I mean, no, it doesn't make you feel any better because it's playoffs, so no moral victories or anything. I guess what I've been most surprised with is I thought that if the Astros could get them in close games, that'd be advantage Astros, because, I mean, it's just should be a mismatch of bullpens. But Leclerc's went out there and taking care of business. I hope they keep on going to that ticking time bomb that came in the 8th inning, because I think if Bregman doesn't swing at the first pitch, it really gives the Astros a better chance to getting his head nice and well. Jordan got the home run off of him. But it's, as long as they've been, I don't think either one of those would be like a long-term solution, Leclerc or Spores, because I think there's too much to say that they're not great. But sometimes you get hot and it lasts for a little while. I mean, Will Smith a couple of years ago shut down the Astros in the World Series, and ever since then he's been a disaster. So you get the guys that are going at the right time, and I think that's been what the Rangers are doing right now. And newsflash, Bruce Bochy knows what he's doing in the postseason, so he's riding with it instead of being just going strictly by the numbers. And he's let those guys with 5.5 ERAs like Spores go in big situations, along with Leclerc, who he wasn't great for a long part of the year. So ride it while it's hot. It's baseball, and the Rangers are very up and down, can be. So during the game, my sister, because I told her at some point, I said, well, the Rangers are the streakiest team ever. Like, if they lose one, they might lose 4 in a row. And as soon as the game ended, she said, Josh, what was this loss you were talking about? So I'm waiting on one, and maybe it'll happen, but definitely not all loss for the Astros, but definitely not ideal to be down 2-0 going on the road.
You know what I wonder before I go into the deep game recap? What did I say last night? Hey, you got us right where you want us there. Because I have the fresh memory. I blacked out for a good portion. We had the buffer seat up there, in section 215. And I remember too well, but to be totally fair, it's such a different team than this current incarnation of the Rangers is. But yeah, sports can be fun at times, but drop us some comments if we stray too far from away what you think. We'll hear from Nathan Evaldi. We don't have him lined up as a guest, just to be clear. We have some clips from him and some post-game news and nuggets coming out of that one. But how about it, Yosh? Go to a recap of this one. What a start in that one. Right off the jump. You can understand why it was a late arriving Astros crowd. They're a pretty raucous bunch when you give them a reason to cheer about something, but the Rangers took away any possible home field advantage, if you believe in such a thing early on in that game, with hits on the first 2 pitches to the first 3 pitches and not a lot of hard contact early, but Fromber had those 2 errors on that one play. It was the most runs allowed in the first inning of a postseason game in franchise history for Houston. That surprised me when I saw that nugget. And teams are now, with the Astros loss in this one, 7-47 in the last 50 years in the postseason after giving up 4 or more runs in the first inning. And I don't know what it is, Josh, but Fromber just really has struggled. And the Rangers, you know me, I'm 9 out of 10 times synced up to the radio broadcast, but they were talking about, and I think Sports Twitter had it as well, but Fromber's had massive struggles since hitting Simeon in that game that we were at, right? The back in Minute Maid Park. And 13 of the next 19 guys for the Rangers got hits. Lost track after that off of Fromber since he hit Simeon. So, but like we talked about it at lunch surrounding our bizarre day up in the Big Pine Curtain. For whatever reason, Fromber has really struggled at home this year, and an outing like that doesn't do anything to dispel those concerns. It was just weird seeing it because he's still got that gravitas of being a top of the rotation pitcher, but for whatever reason, his wheels just shoot off when he's pitching on the home bump there.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I hadn't noticed the home and road splits. Other than I just know the Astros have been terrible at home for the majority of the season. So it's like exactly what we were discussing. Or like when it goes bad for Fromber, it really goes bad. And that was exactly today where it started off. It wasn't like the Rangers weren't doing much. There was the bloop hit by Seager. There was a couple of ones right through the shift, which to the Rangers' credit, they put it there, but a bunch of low exit velocity type stuff if you're going to be the analytics type person. And then Fromber absolutely has no idea how to build his position. I can't blame that on anything because that goes back years. Like if there's a ball twoing, there's a good chance that thing's get flying into right field. And that's
weird.
I mean, it's like if there's a ball twoing, there's a good chance that was weird. I just heard myself again.
Yeah, sorry. I'm messing on the screen here. I'm trying to fiddle around.
But yeah, I mean that cost them a run, which I guess in the end cost them the game. So I don't know. They somehow got a way to get him going if he can get to the mound again, which I kind of think they'll get back in the series at some point. But it might be a mental thing at this point, especially against the Rangers, because he has had bouts where he's been really good even since then. I think he threw a no-hitter the outing after the Rangers. So it's just one of those things, and it's got to be solved if they're going to really make some noise. Because if he gets back on the mound, they're probably going to have to win that game to win the series or extend the series. So I don't know what it is. Like Jeff that lets us know about the podcast after the first inning, he said, I think he's going to get really settled in. And I said, I don't know. I've seen plenty to see that he's not. And then by the third inning, he was out of the game. So just, I don't know. I saw some that they said Dusty Baker stuck with him too long, but what are you supposed to do? It was he got pulled in the third inning. Like, I don't think you could pull him before that unless he just gives up 8 runs, which he didn't do. So, fortunately, the bullpen came in and did their job with all the guys that usually wouldn't be in the playoffs. So, I guess that's one positive.
So it's 4-0 after the first, and then 5-1 in favor of Texas after the Heim home run that matched the Jordan monster blast. After he just sent, he would add another one later. The Astros hit the long ball today, and sure you saw this, but it bears repeating to give proper respects. But the most home runs for one player in a team's first 6 games of a single postseason. In COVID year, Giancarlo Stanton had 6 and Jordan with 5. And remember that crazy tear that Carlos Beltran went on in 2004 with the Astros. He would later go on and help the Astros in another fashion. Later on in 2017, podcast series on that coming. But he is, when he's hitting it, all three of his hits when he had that homer later on were homers, right? Like, because he homered in the postseason. It was one hit in the Twin Series, right? Or am I just speaking out of my backside?
Well, he got 6. He got to 6 in 6 games, which matched Stanton because he hit the 2 today. So no, he hit.
Yeah, I'm thinking series. Yeah, you're right. He got more hits in the Twin Series, but the long ball, yeah.
For the record, just aside, there's no chance that Beltran didn't do something with the Rangers the year before he got to Houston. There's no way he turned into a cheater somewhere between Arlington and Houston. So maybe that's for another day, which Ranger fans don't want to hear. But there's but yeah, that was a crazy tear when Beltran was there, because I remember watching that and thinking, well, nobody could ever do that. And Jordan's done it, and it doesn't seem like he's the Superman type that Beltran was that year. But Beltran was a beast in the field too. So, yeah, I mean, he's the one guy that's been going, and I would say it's a good thing it hadn't resulted in anything, because Tucker's been awful and Altuve's been awful. So they got to get somebody else going, which usually somebody else gets going and then he'll get cold. So it's been fun to watch. I've been kind of waiting for that from Seager, because he hadn't really done a whole lot in the series, which the Rangers can be excited about. They got 2 wins without him just bashing it. I know he's got on base a few times. He had the blue pit. But.
So old buddy Mop brings this up, and I had this on the notes. So great minds think alike. Trustin Bochy knew Grossman was the bat against the lefty, and far be it from me, that's one thing I didn't know, that everybody thought, oh, you just keep Carter in there, and sometimes the splits are over exaggerated. And if this is the regular season, yeah, Carter is batting against Valdez. He's starting, but he knew with the Astros' lack of lefties in the bullpen, hey, he's going to get in there. He said so much when I was listening to his pregame interview. But yeah, definitely Mop. Hello win column in there. And I want some Astros talking here. We got 2. I mean, hey, I'm always one to have the Rangers. Yes, thank you, Rags. I finally went to the state fair. So that's what we'll get. I was there the night before all the shoot 'em up happened as well too. So yeah, that's definitely another pod for another day. But so it's 5-2. Bregman has, can I say it, a cheap homer down the line. Did you hear that note? A somewhat petty Rangers broadcast. I'm sure it didn't make it its way. If this would have made it on to the great Joe Davis and John Smoltz broadcast, Astros fans really would have exploded. But the Rangers broadcast brought up that a lot of Bregman's homers, a good 10% of his homers in his career, have come going into the left field. Anyway, just a little petty mention there that was not exactly a towering blast, but that made it 5-2. Astros chipping away. Things get dicey in the bottom of the 5th. A Young error, even though Josh Young had an outstanding defensive game. He had an error that led to the bases loaded in a no-out situation, but big game Nate Eovaldi gets out of the jam. Diaz struck out. Altuve struck out, and then Bregman had that ground out in the 5th. Rangers get Taveras on third with the triple in the next half inning. That after Simeon had that liner right to Bregman, though, as that they doubled off Taveras to end that threat. Then the Astros poking away. More Rangers love here. Yes, Trisha, don't mind it one bit. But come on, any Astros folks? We know we got some Astros folks out there. But Astros cut it to 5-3 with the Jordan scoring all the way from first. Who doubled Jordan in there? Because I know he's fast, but man, he got in. And the Rangers had a halfway decent relay getting that in. But who hit him in there? That wasn't. Was that McCormick that doubled in Alvarez there?
I believe it was.
Yeah.
It would have been one of those guys, because Abreu and McCormick, or Brantley. Was it Brantley?
Yeah, Uncle Mike. Not like they give us all this info. Could have had that. But I forgot to fill that in at the time. Emotions run high. So, okay, buckle up. I love the Hall of Famer, Eric Nadel. talking about here comes the Aroldis Chapman experience. Get ready. And it certainly was that first pitch. First pitch. That's one thing. Bregman is so great at working counts. So Vicky says, hey, there you go, Josh. It was Brantley, though.
See, Vicky was there to back me up. I got it right.
Vicky, there is. Thank you, Vicky. We know there's some Astros love still out there in the crowd. So it was an experience. That's one thing Bregman did not do. He did not work the count because Chapman gets worse as the counts get deeper. And Tucker takes him to a full count, but then he grounds out to second. And then, boom, Alvarez hits his second homer of the game, and that makes it 5-4. It was already tense and excruciating, but that was really tight. Leclerc comes on and gets the 4-out save, and it was anything but routine as the Rangers go up 2-0 in the series. And the right factor here is that the Rangers bullpen has been great. Yeah, definitely. I was listening to the radio call too. Mom says Nadell had me worried a bit too, but where's that note? How about this difference? You need 9 outs from the bullpen. You think your starter's going to go the way the Rangers have been. You need at least 9 outs from your bullpen, and this goes for the regular season too. But that bullpen mess is minimized when the starters keep going like they have been. In the bottom of the 7th, they flashed a graphic that in the regular season, the Rangers bullpen was 477. In the postseason, it's been 183. So the bullpens really shined in this one and been outstanding. You look forward to the rest of the series. You have Scherzer against Javier coming up game 3. That's up there in Arlington. They might have a few folks as the bandwagon swells up there in Arlington. And I do wonder what the Rangers will do. They've gotten 5 quality starts from their starters. I know they're going to Scherzer, but you can't expect Scherzer to go 6 innings in game 3. So I'd imagine Haney got hot late. I imagine Haney would come up and piggyback things with Scherzer, depending on the matchup here. But yeah, I'm a happy camper. I detect you're not totally dejected. An Astros fan shouldn't totally be dejected in this one.
Yeah, game 3 is like the ultimate. I have no clue. Like I've said all along, I don't have a clue about the series, but that pitching matchup, because Javier's been not great for a whole bunch of starts. And
he was great that last series, though, right?
He was pretty good, yeah. I mean, for the most part, he's got the potential. Like if he goes out there and he's on, then he can shut him down. But for the most part, he hasn't been. Scherzer, I just don't know how you go from being off a month and a half. I guess if anybody could do it, then it would be him. But if I was a Ranger fan, I wouldn't feel good at all about that, because you would think even if he's on, he goes like 4 innings, and then you got to get 5 innings out of the bullpen. I've just got no idea. Like that seems like the game that could turn into the 9-7 game we've been waiting on, where you know both starters are out after the 2nd inning or something. But if nothing else, it'll be interesting, because that's one that's one the Astros definitely don't want to go down 3-0, because I'm pretty level-headed, but 3-0, I'm kind of thinking it's over. I know you won't be thinking that, but that's one that's one that the Astros need to win. The Astros have been so good on the road that if they go out there and win one, then the Rangers are kind of like, uh-oh, here we go again, especially with what happened the last time they were in Arlington. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it sucks to sit out a day after you've lost 2 games you thought you should win. So maybe that'll get the Astros bats going. I mean, that's kind of the key, is they've got nothing out of the top 3 guys in the order. I mean, Tucker and Jordan switched today. So, but yeah, Altuve, Bregman, and Tucker, 1 hit in the series combined, I think is what I heard. So they're not going to win like that. And they're not going to win scoring 0 like they did the other day. The offense got going a little bit better, and it should get going better the longer the series goes, or at least games 3 and 4, where they should be facing lesser starting pitching. Feels kind of bad to say Scherzer's lesser starting pitching, but I just don't know what you can truly expect out of him from coming back and having no rehab outings, because that generally doesn't turn out well. It's usually kind of a desperation move, but they decided before the game, and it's 2-0, so it's not desperation. It's, based on Bochy probably knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does have a clue. You're right on that. But you're not totally off on Scherzer, because it was you. I was thinking, who was I telling that? Oh, it was you, the one guy that does this show with me most of the time. At lunch today, we were talking how Scherzer has the blips. He'll give up a 3-run first few innings, and then he'll settle down. So you can't afford that. That gets reduced into them maybe giving him 2 innings or 3 innings if he gets roughed up. I don't think they give him the leash to get out of that with a day extra of rest in the bullpen. But I think they piggyback Haney. Like I was saying earlier, I think you get Haney out there and you're still set up pretty well through the rest of the series. Worry more about John Gray in that scenario than Scherzer. But man, that would certainly add to the myth that has been his postseason career too, with what he did in 2019 against the Astros as well down there in that Game 7. But you brought up something I had in my notes as we wrap it up here. Kyle Tucker, man, how you get him going? I'm not complaining, but I mean, and really, you look at Altuve. I was just waiting, grit my teeth on the edge of the couch, and Alvarez, even though he's had the dingers in the series, he still scuffled a bit. I mean, that's dumb to say today, getting 2 solo homers, but I don't know. It's just that the big play, and Semien has had that too. Semien hasn't just done well. The bottom of the lineup, though, has covered up some of the sins from Semien there at the top of the order. He's hitting like 160 in the postseason. So I don't know. I just, if I was wearing that Astros orange and blue and whatever colors y'all have, I'd be worried about the big guns. But as I rub the bald noggin here, nervously wait for them to explode. And after what they did, they proved they could hit in Arlington when we were up there. I keep going back there when we practically held hands by the railroad tracks there up in Arlington a few weeks back. But 2-0, 0-2, however you want to look at it. That's what we have. So any final comments? I guess I did just talk on and on about Tucker, Altuve. How do you get those guys going?
I mean, it's baseball. They're streaky, so they get a couple hits in a game, they'll get going. It's what they do. And I've just got a feeling that things are about to get weird in games 3 and 4, because I don't think either team's the pitchers they're going to throw out at the start are going to be going like the ones have in the first 2 games outside of Fromber. Verlander and the 2 Rangers pitchers really shut them down. I'd be really surprised if Javier or Scherzer, whoever goes in game 4, or Keedy, Gray, I just think it's going to turn into some wild bullpen games. And I think that is advantage Astros, but at the same time, that's going to be the Astros don't want to go to the guys they went to in the bullpen today, which they did pretty well. But that once they can get to the last 3 or 4 innings, and that's advantage Astros, especially if they can get it tied or miraculously lead an inning against the Rangers. So I just think the next 2 games are going to be pretty wild, and then it'll go to game 5. I was just reading what came across the screen. But I think game 5, it'll go back to the starters coming back across and restoring some order. But I think games 3 and 4 are going to be pretty wild.
Yeah, you're right. If it goes to the pin, that definitely favors the Astros. But those numbers I gave you, if I slipped up there, Vicky, play in Arlington, they do have games 3, games 4, and games 5 coming up in Arlington. We going? Game 6, game 7. Do we wait?
I
think the little lady is fast asleep. So if it gets to a game 6 or 7, don't we kind of have to?
I would love to.
Are we
So,
obligated? Bank funds be danged.
yeah, that's the bank funds. I think the last time I went to an Astros playoff game was a long time ago. They were playing the Braves, and it certainly wasn't the current version of the Braves. This was back when the Braves were beating the Astros in the division series years ago, which I think the year I went, the Astros actually beat them, but they didn't win the game. But we might have to make it happen. What's the I guess Sunday and Monday would be those games, right? If they're back in Houston.
Yeah, I'll be up in Tulsa with the day job coming up for Game 5. What am I talking about? Game 3. And Game 4, I'll be working during Game 4. So who knows? Maybe I'll bring the broom. But that would be a good post-game reaction. We can have post-game reactions with Nate. Maybe Nate will join us. I don't think he's watching tonight, but we can have Nate and get little Astros, little more Astros representation, as we have a lot of Rangers folks in the chat for this one here. But anyway, all that to be said, I like sports. I like baseball. Here we go. What are we doing here? For those that weren't on last night's stream, going with the old school baseball time in Texas. Josh has his mug. I have my armless Nadell. What do you think about that, Mom?
Hey, the clock was a gift for me, though.
That's right. That's right. You did get the clock. I've got my not exactly fitting Rangers hat. Do you think I need a couple sizes up?
I do like some ice cream in one of those helmets from a cup. Oh,
Doug,
there you go. It's Doug,
stop
not Vicky.
watching.
So we got a picture of Vicky here, and Doug says, "This is Doug. This is just this is just bizarre." Being, if anybody knew who Doug was, we love Doug. Doug's 7 foot tall and has some stories he can share from the trip at some point. Well, I guess it was a different one. There was a selfie in a bathroom that involved Doug that we'll have to talk about someday, and maybe we can even get Doug on to talk about it.
Where he got cheated out of his foul ball. He's so high tone, he bought a second ticket out of the outfield because that's where all the Astros home runs were going. And then a foul ball ended up in the seat that was, 2-3 rows ahead of us. So,
yeah, it was in Doug's actual seat where it went.
And he knew it. He called it out. He said, "That's my seat." I was like, "How did you know that fast?" Like, he has this
We were
vision from across the barn dominium up there at Arlington.
Yeah, we were talking about it, and he texted right in the middle to confirm it. So he was all over it. But we got to get Doug on sometime to break down the road trip and to break down his selfie story from a bathroom at an Astros game that we went to a week or two after. It's great. He'd have to do it justice by telling it, but it did involve a man in the Astros bathroom asking Doug for a selfie. I'll leave it at that. I think that's a good promo for whenever we actually get Doug on there.
Okay, you're getting the hang. I mean, you're Mr. Award-winning newspaper guy, but you're getting the hang of this tease stuff here. I like it. All right, Josh. You know what else I like? I like this podcast, and I like having 1987 style debit card policy stories that we have coming up. Talking to a reality show participant and a misplaced bed frame. That's coming up here. Hey, Kale, what's up, man? Very entertaining. What's up? Old Commerce High School buddy. I'm assuming Rangers there, Kale. But yeah, thanks for all of y'all for tuning in. We do more of this. We don't take ourselves too seriously. But yeah, a wild day is capped with some sadness, I'm sure, coming up, as I don't know the Cowboys score. I have not started because when they make fish sticks and macaroni, what does that eat? What do you mean? Okay, I clicked on the wrong one.
Okay, I think playing Arlington means that's the key to the Astros getting back on track. Just
there you go.
Get that offense going.
Wrigley Field urinals. I've been to Wrigley Field. You never been to Wrigley Field or one of the old staples, have you?
I've never been. The only ballparks I've been to are Arlington, Houston, Colorado, Atlanta. I think that's it.
Yeah. Please give us the full list right now. We have to hear it.
Well, it's not much of a list. That's why I went through.
All right, man. I have Cowboy sadness to dampen this wild and crazy day. But yeah, subscribe. Well, we've got the podcast out there as well. We'll be back. We always pod this one and more and more and more forever and ever. All right, Josh. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. You're a couple hours ahead. So in 2 hours, when I text you some Cowboy sadness, you'll know what I'm talking about.
They're just about to crank up the fourth quarter right now.
Oh, we killed a full quarter, huh? Okay.
We did. We killed a quarter. I will say it's not as bad as last week against San Francisco.
Okay. There you go. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you, pal. Really appreciate you. We have not had it yet.
See you later. Adios. Bye-bye, boys. 2-0. Back at you.
All right. Have a great rest of this day or night. God bless you. God bless Texas. Have a great rest of this night. Talk to you next time out here on the Texas Porch. Go Rangers. Rangers in 5?
Astros in 7.
You wish. Rangers in 4?